If you look at watercolor paintings and focus on the trees, you will notice that they are usually abstract shapes made of pools of different colors with dots and dabs to signify the leaves. Sometimes it's just a tangle of abstract shapes. There are many ways to paint trees in watercolors, and in this lesson we will use a wet and wet technique, meaning we will paint the foliage all in one go, without waiting for the first layer to dry and then adding more layers on top. So let's get started. We'll start with a very light base color and something that will blend nicely with any colors we decide to put in our tree. So we might want a yellow base because yellow can blend nicely with a green, and it can also blend nicely with a red and an orange, right? So let's start off with a light yellow base, okay? And let's mix it up here and get a nice, juicy amount of yellow color. And let's start dabbing around, just dabbing your paint onto the paper and keeping it very wet, a lot of water because we don't want it to dry out too quickly. And try to do this quickly, a little round shape full of dabs right here in the upper middle of your paper. And we can even throw in some more water just to make sure it's really wet. Okay, I'm just adding some more water into the shapes that I already have here on the paper. That's going to be the base of our tree. Make sure it's wet, very wet. Okay, now we'll decide what kind of a tree we want. We can go with greens, different shades of greens, maybe some blues for the darker areas, or we can go with more of a fall tree and put in some oranges and reds and different colors, or we could do both really. So let's see what happens if we use a kind of a warm light green like this. Okay, and we'll start adding it in to a few areas of our tree. Okay, let's get it even more saturated. So that means I'm adding more color, a stronger color into there. Okay, so I just did a couple areas of the tree. Now let's get my really bright yellow over here, and I'm going to add some of that in next to the green that I already put in. Okay, and we'll put a little bit, let's say, down here. Okay, and say our tree is just starting to turn fallish, so we'll get some orange. Let's mix it up over here so we can see the color and how strong it is. Okay, and we'll just add a few dabs of that orange in there as well. Okay, and we can make the edges of the tree a little bit more interesting if we want to. Okay, and wherever there is still water without color, let's just fill it in and add some more color in there. Okay, we want to preserve a little bit of those white spots inside the tree, so don't fill it all in. And then, because we want a little sense of depth in our tree, so we want a darker green. So let's take any green color that you've got. You can add a little indigo, a little black, even a little purple. Let's see, this is a bit of black. Okay, it just darkens up our green. And we're going to dab that in near the bottom. And a few little spots in the tree as well. Okay. If our tree is looking a bit too neat, it's very round and perfect, which is okay, but if we want to just make it a little more natural looking, then we can just take some of the color around the edges and draw it out slightly. Okay, so it's not quite so symmetrical. Okay, let's take some of that dark green around the bottom. Okay, great. And now we'll draw in the trunk of the tree. So let's get a nice brown, mix it up here on the side. Make sure it's wet but dark, saturated. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to take one branch coming down from here. We'll take two little branches coming down from here, and then we'll join in here. Okay, we can make them all a little bit thicker. And we'll give it some roots coming out the bottom there. If we want to, we can even do some little small branches coming out. And we can put some inside the tree as well. If you have some white spaces in the tree and you want to give a sense of having some branches in there, okay, so just putting little brown marks in there, and it will bleed into your wet tree. That is okay. Alright, and then let's put a few dabs or dashes of grass or fallen leaves, something down here to make it a little more interesting. So let's start with a little light colored base. Okay, and we're just going to put some dabs down here. Okay, let's grab some of the orange. Okay, I'm not dabbing on top of the green, I'm dabbing right next to the green. Okay, it will blend a little bit. Okay, and we'll grab a little yellow as well and fill in some spaces where to tuck the paper in. You see how that is pooling up there? Let's just tuck it in so the color runs into the middle of the tree. Okay. I'm going to fill in the darker green here under the tree. Okay, and there we have it.
This lesson was part of my 10-part series called Watercolor for Beginners. If you enjoyed this lesson and want to learn more about watercolors, check it out. I will show you the fundamental techniques you need to paint watercolors with confidence, including how to control the amount of water and paint you use, mix and layer colors, experiment with different techniques, and most of all, let go, loosen up, and have fun. Happy painting!